Hi all, today I'm here with a new video on another important period in English literature, that is Renaissance period. So in my last video we discussed Middle English literature, its features, important authors, etc. And in this video I'm going to talk about the early Renaissance period in English literature. Renaissance is a revival or rebirth of European art and literature under the influence of classical models in the 14th to 16th centuries. It was a period in European history marking the transition from the Middle Ages to modernity. It occurred after the crisis of the late Middle Ages and was associated with great social change. Now, Humanism. The intellectual basis of Renaissance was its version of humanism, derived from the concept of Roman humanitas and the rediscovery of classical Greek. Dante, Petrarch, Boccaccio, Machiavelli are notable examples of Italian Renaissance writers. Petrarch and Boccaccio were the two acknowledged geniuses among early Renaissance humanists. Petrarch is sometimes called the father of humanism. Humanism is a Renaissance cultural movement which turned away from medieval scholasticism and revived interest in ancient Greek and Roman thought. It also gives a prime importance to human. Here, the image of Petrarch. Now, the Renaissance in England, 1500 to 1660. Renaissance arrived in England in the mid of 1500, almost 2 centuries after it began in Italy. Courtier poets such as Sir Thomas Wyatt, Sir Philip Sidney, and Edmund Spencer transformed Italian forms into richly flexible English verse. Now we move on to the features of Renaissance. First one, rebirth and rediscovery of classical learning. Second one, humanism, we have already discussed. Third one, Reformation. Fourth one, new worlds, that is discovery of new world. For example, we have Vasco da Gama came to India in the year 1498. Then Columbus discovered America, etc., etc. So new worlds. And the last feature of Renaissance, of course, an English Renaissance. So Renaissance that arrived in England. Next, early Renaissance writers. The important writers of early Renaissance period are Thomas Wyatt, Surrey, Sidney, and Spencer. Wyatt and Surrey widely traveled in Italy, brought to England the Italian and classical influence. They are the first harbingers of Renaissance and first modern poets in England. The book that contains their poems is Songs and Sonnets, known as Tottel's Miscellany, written in the year 1557. Now, we move on to the first great early Renaissance writer, that is Thomas Wyatt. Wyatt brought English poetry grace, harmony, and nobility. He attempted a great variety of metrical forms, songs, sonnets, madrigals, and elegies. He first introduced sonnets in England and strictly followed the Petrarchan form of sonnet. He also introduced personal or autobiographical note in his poetry. His lyrics are noticeable for drier simplicity, spontaneity, and refinement of a man of learning and culture. So here the image of Wyatt. And the second important figure in the case of early Renaissance literature is Henry Howard, or Earl of Surrey. Surrey is a disciple of Wyatt rather than an independent poetical force. He modified the sonnet form and made it typically English. The Petrarchan form is more impressive and the modified English form is more expressive. Shakespeare followed the English form of sonnet introduced by Surrey. He was the first in his translations of the second and fourth book of Virgil's Aeneid to use 10-syllabled unrhymed verse, which is now known as a blank verse. Here, Surrey. And the third important figure in the early Renaissance period of English literature is Sir Philip Sidney, born in 1554 and died in 1586. Sidney, the most celebrated literary figure before Spencer and Shakespeare, is remembered for Arcadia, written in 1590, a prose romance, then Apology for Poetry, written in 1580, and Astrophel and Stella, written in 1593, that is a collection of sonnets. The sonnets, numbering about 108, are the first poetic expression of personal feelings and experiences in English. His sonnets owe much to Petrarch and drawn sad in time and style. Sidney has produced a body of poetry which, for its versatile excellence, places him in the foremost rank of his time. Here, the image of Sidney. And the last important figure in the English literature during early Renaissance period is Edmund Spencer, born in 1552 and died in 1599. He is an English poet, best known for the Fairy Queen, an epic poem and fantasy allegory celebrating the Tudor dynasty and Elizabeth I. He is called the poet's poet because of the very high quality of his poetry. Spencer used a distinctive verse form called Spenserian stanza in his work Fairy Queen. The rhyme scheme is A-B-A-B, B-C-B-C-C, which he used in his sonnet also. His other important works are Amorati, Epithalamion, Astrophel, that is a pastoral elegy upon the death of Sir Philip Sidney, then Trothalamion, and Shepherd's Calendar. That's all. Thank you.